Get ready to elevate your sales game with the Loveall Sales Podcast. Here is your host, the insightful and inspiring Brent Loveall.
Welcome to the Loveall Sales Podcast. Today's episode is going to be fire. Why? It's because we're going to talk about the real reasons why customers ghost their salesperson. And you're like, and even if you are amazing, you're still going to get ghosted. But we need to minimize that amount. So that's what we're going to talk about in today's podcast. Understand this. This is a huge pain point for everybody in sales, not just the automotive industry, but this is something that we deal with. And internet leads are like, well, why did you inquire if you're not going to pick up the phone? They came in, but then they ghost you. Like, why don't you at least pick up the phone and tell me you're not interested? Like, it drives us nuts. I've done sales for 23 years. This is something that still drives me nuts. But also understand, like, I always say control the controllables. That's one of my big thing. And you can't control it, but you can control how you respond to people, how you follow up with people, selling them while they're there. You can control all of these things. So understand this. Like, I love the phone, so we're going to start there. The reason why so many people get ghosted is because they treat the phone call more like a transaction. They don't figure out their why, meaning like, why are they inquiring on this car? Why did they call in? Why did they inquire online? You got to figure out their why. If you don't figure out their why, then you really don't know them. You're not like getting to know this individual. That brings me up to my next thing is like, once you understand their why, now we got to build that connection. That connection's like, oh, I like this person. If they feel like, oh, I like this person, they're going to come and see you most likely, because you're going to set yourself apart versus everybody else that calls them. Because I cold call dealerships, mystery shop them. And so many times they just go straight for the appointment. They don't know my why. They don't build a connection with me. They go straight for the appointment. Or they ask, do you have any questions? And then that's a terrible thing to ask, by the way. But they don't truly, they set weak appointments. And they just go straight for it. So if you figure out their why, if you make a connection with them, and then you go, like, you're either going to go for the appointment or you're going to go for the commitment, you're going to increase the odds of this person coming in. And then once you set the appointment, you've got to use a button-up question. What is a button-up question? A button-up question is like this. I always ask 2 button-up questions every single time I make an appointment, even if I sincerely believe this person is coming in, because it is part of my process. Your process is everything. Is there any reason at all why you would not be able to make it today at 5:30? That is my first question. They're like, nope, I'll be there. Perfect. And please give me the common courtesy where if anything does change, please let me know, because I am going to take the time to have this vehicle pulled up. I am going to have a few hours set aside just for you, so you have an unbelievable experience or an amazing experience, however you want to phrase it. Would you do that for me? That's called a button-up question. Most salespeople don't ask that. I do 2 of them every single time. That's why I've always had a 70% plus shown ratio every single month. And the national average is 50. So that means if you set 1 out of 2, one's not showing up. If I set 3 out of 4, one doesn't show up. Which one would you rather do? Ask better button-up questions. So they set weak appointments, and that goes all into that. Again, figuring out their why, truly putting the spotlight on the customer. There's, like, my mentor would always say this: you can talk about what you want to talk about, or you can really put the spotlight on them, get to know them, build that connection. So they can't just feel like the only thing you want to talk about is just selling a car. If they give you an opening like, hey, I'm a business owner. Oh, congratulations. What kind of business do you have? That's called taking the openings. That's how you build that connection. Amazing. And then also getting a commitment. Why do they ghost you? Because a lot of times we don't ask for a commitment. I love trial closes. I love getting commitments. When I'm on the phone with somebody, I ask for a commitment. Like, they ask, is this available? Let's just say it's an inbound phone call, and I go through and figure out their why. What do they like best? I figure out that why. I build that connection before I tell them it's available. Hey, if it is available, would you buy it? And you're thinking, like, that's crazy. it works. It's highly effective, because then you're going to hear things like this, like, yeah, I'll buy it if we can agree to numbers. So once we do that, then you'll buy it. Yes, then let's do this. Take control, set the appointment, ask the button-up questions. But also, like, you'll hear things like, yeah, I'll do it if you give me enough for my trade. So once we do that, then you'll do it. It's like next level sales. And understand this, your prospect's not used to this stuff. They are not. So it catches them off guard. Anytime you catch them off guard, you're going to get something real from them, because that's like asking somebody, to give you an example, like, when you hear things like when someone comes on the lot and you're like, hey, how can I help you? I'm just looking. That's a program response. That's why I don't like saying it's just, you need to ask strong questions. You need to get commitments. By getting commitments and asking for commitments, the sooner the better, because it throws them off, and then you get real responses from them. And then also, I briefly talked about it, but poor fact finding. You're not figuring out their why. Figuring out someone's why is the most important thing that you can ever do. Meaning, you might hear someone say like, yeah, I don't really think that I would do it because my car's paid off. But this person inquired. This person came on the lot. This person called in. But then if you hear something like that, okay, well, just curious, like, what made you call in? First of all, you always acknowledge what they think. Thanks for sharing that with me. And then after that, I need to figure out their why. If you ask the right questions, customers will tell you how to sell them. But most of the time, salespeople just talk about what they think is like a great deal. Well, you don't know if it's a great deal to them or not. Like ask better questions. You need to ask more questions. It needs to be more question-based than you just talking. So many people that I talk to, when I speak with a lot of salespeople, and they're like, yeah, I'm a phenomenal salesperson. I'm like, well, tell me what you like. I hit them with an objection, and it's terrible. Like, you've got to be prepared, not building value. Like, you've got to build value. You've got to future sell. When I say future sell, meaning I need to paint a picture in the prospect's brain up here about them leaving in this car, about them parking in their garage, their driveway, about taking this car on vacation, about using this truck to haul his camper. Like, I'm going to paint pictures. I'm going to get this person so excited. And then also, the reason why you get partially ghosted as well, because you don't get them excited. Understand this. When you sell cars, when people buy the cars, they typically are excited, right? Meaning their energy level is up here. That's when they typically buy, because they're excited. People that are neutral, it's harder to sell them. And why? Because these people, and some of them are analytical. Those individuals, you got to break step by step by step by step. You got to understand how someone's brain works. And that's why I love asking what kind of work you do, because it tells you how their brain thinks. But going back to it, you just don't build enough value. You don't get the people excited enough, because a sell is a transfer of emotion. A sell is, like when I'm doing my fact finding, my goal is to get them excited. If I get them excited, I've got a lot better shot when I ask my trial close to get a yes. But if I don't get them excited, I really don't move on. The car doesn't get them excited. It gets them a little bit, but you are the salesperson. If cars got people excited, we wouldn't need salespeople. So when two people meet, one person gets sold. Get them excited. It's how you sell a higher percentage of the people. And then on top of that, the reason why most people get ghosted, and I love this, okay, because we don't follow up properly. Some people don't even follow up at all. They might call people one or two times. The money is made in the follow-up. You've got to follow up. So you can be like, yeah, I was like, somebody a couple days ago, I was like, how many cars do you sell a month? And they said this, and I was like, all right, cool. And they were like, but I close at a very high percentage. And I was like, all right, cool. So I started asking other questions, like internet closing percentage wasn't good. Phone calls wasn't good, meaning like inbound phone calls. And I already knew the answer to this. I was like, but I kept probing, and meaning asking like, I always ask people, like, what's the biggest challenge stopping you from getting to the next level? And when people say that, I don't know, like, I do this like so good. And then I ask other questions, and most of the time, salespeople, especially in the auto industry, we just don't follow up enough. Like, understand, like, if you don't sell them immediately, the average sale takes 4, 5, 6 follow-ups. And when I ran, when when I did a lot of internet leads, like I had an assistant because I was selling 50, 60 cars a month. And our goal was to call 60 days worth of internet leads every single day. That was a bare minimum. Like I wanted to do more because money is made in the follow-up. Understand this. Most people don't call past a week. A lot of people don't even call past a few days. So I know it's going to give me a competitive advantage over my competition because these people don't just inquire about one car. They inquire about multiple cars. They got multiple dealerships reaching out to them. And because of this, most salespeople give up. That's why I'm still calling. And odds are, like if they're not picking up, they're probably getting a lot of calls. They're like, I don't want to talk to anybody. But then people die down. They're not getting as many calls. They're more likely to pick up the phone. So bad follow-up. And you've got to do all of this stuff. And you need to try to sell them when they are there. So many people like, I don't want to be like a pushy salesperson. I was not a pushy salesperson. The customer didn't feel like I was pushy. But I was like, I like building a connection. I like leading them in the right way. I like most of the time when I sold, people didn't feel the pressure, but I'm leading them. I'm controlling the interaction, the conversation. Like I'm doing that. These are the primary reasons why people get ghosted. And I promise you this much, work on all of that stuff. If you work on that stuff, your numbers are going to go up. Please share this with your other salespeople in the auto industry. Please share this if you're a manager. Share it with your sales staff. I train dealerships. I train individuals. I would love to help you take your numbers to the next level because that's what I do. I am the most hands-on trainer, one of the most hands-on trainer that you will ever find because I deep down inside want you to win in a big, big way. I take people's numbers and increase them very fast. How? Is because I care and I want you to win. Share this with other people. Hit that subscribe button. I love you all. God bless. Believe in yourself because I do.